Alright, so today I'm going to be talking about a force push effect that I did for my Star Wars Saber Duels video back in 2016. This is a pretty simple effect that you can do all in After Effects and without any third-party plugins. So here's that effect really quick so you know what I'm talking about. Okay, as you just saw, this is an effect for a first-person video, so you're probably going to be using an action camera like a GoPro or an Osmo. I used the GoPro Hero 3 Black Edition way back in 2016, so that's why the footage looks a little dated. But okay, so first things first, you're going to have to shoot your footage, of course, and I shot 3 different clips. For the first clip, I took my GoPro and mounted it to a monopod, held it about eye level, ran up to the actor playing Kylo Ren, and stopped suddenly, like they stopped me with the Force. And then as they raised their arm, like they were raising me up, I raised up the monopod, slowly up as high as it could go above my head. Then they acted out the force push, and as they did that and kept their hand there, I walked backwards slowly while I lowered the monopod. And then when I got as far away as I wanted to be, I jammed the monopod into the ground and whipped the GoPro back, getting some motion blur in there so that I can transition from the first clip to the second clip. Then for the second clip, I took the GoPro and mounted it to my head. You can do that with a head strap, or if you don't have a head strap, you can use a really cool children's bicycle helmet that doesn't fit your head properly if you have one lying around. But so as I was doing the transition from the monopod to the head mount, I made sure that the actor kept their hand in the same place from when they did the force push, kept their arm in the same place, they were standing in the same place so that I can match up perfectly to the second clip. After I had the GoPro mounted to my head and made sure I was standing in the same place where the monopod went into the ground, I just simply threw myself on the ground, whipped my head back, and there you go. That's the transition from the first clip to the second clip. And then for the third and final clip, I shot my hands holding a lightsaber in front of a green screen and then layered that over the top of the monopod footage. But first we're going to jump into After Effects and I'm going to show you how I pieced the first and second clip together because it makes it a lot easier when you watch that footage as you're recording your green screen plate so it matches up perfectly. Alright, so I have After Effects open now and I've imported the monopod clip and the head mount clip. I'm going to create a new composition, just call it Final Effect. Make it 1920 by 1080. Drag down the monopod clip. Trim that. I'll do it right about when I start running up to Kylo Ren, just for the sake of the tutorial, just to show you the part where I'm going to do the effect on it. And then trim it at the end to right where there's a good motion blur spot. Next, I'm going to make another cut right when Kylo Ren does the push. So right there. Okay, I'm going to add a time stretch. I found about 22 was good for my clip. Yours will vary depending on how fast you walked back or the speed of the effect that you want. Okay, so far it looks like this. Absolute trash. Just awful. Okay, so we're gonna add warp stabilizer to the bottom clip, the part where I'm flying through the air. I just leave it at 50% smoothness, don't touch anything else. Just let that analyze really quick. Okay, warp stabilizer is done analyzing, and now it looks like that. So warp stabilizer rescaled the image, so I'm gonna have to align both of these clips. I shot in 2K so that I knew I was gonna upload in 1080, so I can move these clips around and reposition them where I need to. So what I do is I just extend the top clip a little bit, bring it down to 50% opacity so I can see what I'm doing, and then the bottom clip, just reposition it over there, and then I can scale up the top clip to match it. Move it around. So that right there should be good enough. Bring the opacity back to 100. And there you go. This is looking pretty good. Okay, the only thing is, see right there, his head goes out of frame. So you can just position your clip if that happens right about here. I'll just bring it down just to make sure that he stays in the frame. There you go. All right, this looks good. Looks real good. Okay, now we can bring in the head mount clip. Drag that down. Just clip that about there. And then just there. Okay. Okay, so remember when I said earlier how I want to end on a blurry frame? So I end here for that clip, and then it's transitioning from monopod right here into the head mount. So I go through frame by frame to find a good matching motion blur spot of the next clip. See, that might be a little better. Let's see what that looks like. All right, and just like that, it looks pretty good. It's matched up. You can't even tell that there's a cut in there. Look at that. Okay, so now the next effect, what we're going to add to this clip, the part where you're flying through the air, it's going to be CC radial blur. It's going to be set to centered zoom. I go to the beginning of the clip. I just keyframe the center point. Make sure it's on the hand. I start at 0, the amount. Go about halfway through. I can bring it up to maybe it's like 20. Make sure the center's still on the hand. So you see what it's doing? It's doing this really cool like warp effect to just enhance the feel that you're getting pushed through the air. Then I bring it up to about 30. Just kind of like it's getting more intense as you're getting pushed through the air. Make sure to recenter the effect. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Oh, that looks so good. Okay. And then what I like to do is put another radial blur on the bottom clip. Make sure the center is there. Amount. Oh, I gotta do centered zoom. And then just have the amount be the same of what you left off on with this clip. And then just start at 30 or wherever. Like I said, start wherever you left off at. Go through a few frames and just bring it down to 0. Just so it's a smoother transition. And then just make sure the center point is in the middle. It just helps the two clips blend even better. All right, that's what we have so far. And it looks pretty good. Okay, and that's the first part. Okay, so what I do at this point is I record this part with my phone so I can have it, some reference footage to watch when I go outside to shoot my green screen footage. It really helps matching up the hands and the lightsaber movement of when I run up to Kylo Ren and act like I'm gonna hit him. Just makes it a lot easier and more seamless to match up the footage together. So I'm gonna pre-compose this. Just call it force push. And then bring in the green screen footage, create new composition. Just call this key 1920 by 1080. There we go. Bring in the green screen footage into the key composition. And what I do here is I bring in the final effect composition underneath so that, let's turn the audio off, so that I can see exactly where I need to be. Just have some reference footage in this composition. Okay, so I went through the green screen clip and clipped it right when I come down with the swing, and then I act like I got pushed, like my arms get thrown open. That really helps sell the effect too. Okay, so now we can key this out. We can add key light. And so this isn't a green screen tutorial or anything like that. I just do it pretty simply. I dropped the screen color, and then for screen matte, I just clipped the black. It's about there, and that looks fine for me. There you go. We have a pretty clean key. Then I'll just create a mask here around, since my green screen didn't fill up the whole entire frame. There we go. Okay, now I dragged the green screen clip over the reference footage and matched it up right where the swing comes down. Okay, so I moved the position of the green screen element around a little bit right there so it matches up. Okay, so this part looks pretty good, where I come down with the swing and then get lifted up in the air. The next part we're gonna do is right there. Right when he does the force push. What I do is I just keyframe the scale, back a few frames, and then just bring it up, maybe like 120. Okay, that should look pretty good. There you go. See, it just looks like my hands move towards the camera and fly open past my chest. Just adds to the effect. Okay, so now we can delete the reference footage and we just have the green screen plate by itself. We can go back into the final effect composition, add in our key comp on top, and now, okay, there you go. We have a matching green screen element on top of our other two clips, matching perfectly right there. All right, so we're almost done. Next thing I'm gonna do is right here, just add a force warping effect, as if the power of the force is just warping the air around his hand. So what I'll do is add a new adjustment layer. Just trim that right around this area. Should be good. And then on the adjustment layer, I'm gonna add turbulent displace. There you go, it just warps the whole footage. I'm not gonna get too specific with the settings over here. You can mess around with that, see what it looks like, but let's add our mask real quick so we can adjust it from there. Do the ellipse tool, hold down shift to make a perfect circle. Do it right there. I will mask the path of this to enlargen over the course of a few frames, as if the force is just extending out and making like a shockwave effect. I'll just make it bigger than the frame. It's about there. Okay, as you can see, that's already looking pretty cool. It's warping the space around Kylo Ren as he does the effect. Let's set the feather to about 10, maybe a little more. Let's see what that looks like. Okay. But what I like to do to make this look even better is add a second mask inside of the first one that we made. I set that to subtract. I'll mask this path as well. And as the first mask that we created increases, I'll increase this one as well, but I'll leave it smaller than the first one. Maybe about there. Just so you can see Kylo Ren a little bit more, like the area that's being affected is around him because he's pushing it out. And let's increase the feather on that one as well. Do about 100. All right, I think we're almost done. Yeah, it looks good. Okay, that's it. The only things left to do is add your sound, add the lightsaber effect, of course. I also added some dust impact when I land here, add some grunting sounds, and after all that, it will look like this. Alright, that's it for today's video. This is my first After Effects tutorial, so hopefully you're able to follow along and that you learned something and you can apply this effect to your future Star Wars films. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.